Hey everybody. So I've got some little bit of bifacing to do this morning, and I figured maybe we could use our new handy dandy boppers. I did a video a week or so ago, maybe, on these, and the deal is a friend of mine sent me these to kind of give a test run and, give them some feedback on what I thought. And as you can see, I've been using them. Got a little bit of wear on them. But the cool thing with these are, if you didn't see the first video, they have detachable heads. So these heads screw off. And so when you go to, you get one wore out, you can just grab another head and put on there. It's a threaded, goes in, and it seats down really nice. And it's a nice tight fit. But one of the biggest things I've noticed differences in these and other, boppers with just the wooden handles, the lead-filled caps, is the weight. And I guess the extra weight is coming from the bolt itself in there. I think he said it's an actual bolt, so the head of the bolt's down there. It's not just a piece of all thread, But they're made really nice. It's a really nice tight fit, and they seat down on top here really well. There's actually one more smaller size also around here somewhere, but I think I'll be using this one mostly today. But yeah, so these things are really cool. They're not available yet, I don't believe, but they will be, I think, soon. And the place to find these are on the website flintnappingtraditions.com. My buddy Dan Collins, that's his site, and he's gonna sell these for my buddy who's making them. And yeah, pretty cool deal. So you can, you're gonna save some money just buying a replacement head rather than a whole new tool. Pretty nifty. And like I said, the biggest difference I've noticed so far is the weight thing, and it's a good thing. It's not a downfall at all. So I've just got a few different pieces here. I'm gonna work into some bifaces and kind of refine down a little bit. I figured we could use these and you guys can see them at work. Did a little short video last night for a buddy of mine. Buddy of mine, his name's Cliff from North Carolina. I met Cliff back when I was guiding alligator hunts and shark fishing charters and all kind of fun stuff. He came down. He's probably my favorite client, or that was probably one of my favorite hunts. Hunt/fishing trip. We did a combo shark fishing alligator hunt with him and one of his buddies, and it was a lot of fun. I had an absolute blast. They're really, really great people. Cliff's he's a salt of the earth, really good guy. But it was pretty fun. Him and his buddy, I put him on a shark the first day, we went out on the ocean and caught him a couple big black tips, and I think the second day, I think there was a 3-day deal. So the second day we got one of them, an alligator, and then on the third day or the second night, maybe we killed the second alligator. But anyways, it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. I really miss it down there. It's beautiful country. I lived in a little fishing village outside of Charleston, and had the boat ramp there, probably 5 or 10 minutes from the house, and it was pretty cool. I had me a little flats boat and a little skiff, and we had a Grady White that we could take offshore. I was living high on the hog down there. Had me a little butcher shop, processing place where I butchered deer and wild hogs, and did taxidermy, and helped a buddy of mine who I met guide hog hunts. He guided hog hunts, and he had about, I don't know, 12 or 15 head of dogs. He used Catahoulas and stuff. And they had the dogs that would bay the hog, and then they had a couple, like I think he used pit bulls for the catch dogs. So when the I guess bay dogs would bay the pig, they'd all start barking. You'd hear them and stuff. They'd run it until it got it cornered, or it decided to turn around and wanted to fight, and then you'd hear the fight break out, and then so the bay dogs would be out in front of you, and then when they bayed the pig, you cut that leash. You kept the catch dogs on a leash as you were walking, and you cut them pit bulls off that leash, man, and they'd run in there and get a hold of that pig on whatever they bit a hold of, whether it was an ear or a nose or whatever it was. They did not let go until it was over. It was really something else. And we used knives. We didn't hunt with guns. We'd run in and stab them in the heart with a knife right behind the shoulder. And it might sound brutal or whatever, but it was actually really ethical. Probably the most ethical way to do it, as far as a method of dispatching them. You use a knife with at least we'd tell people, you need to have at least a 6-inch blade. And man, I'll tell you what, I've killed a bunch of them like that, and you stab them in there behind the shoulder, and you just go in and usually, go down, and at an angle and down is what we told people to do, and it would just cut that heart, man, and they would bleed out. I mean, just in a matter of seconds, they would be done. But it was pretty cool. He did a lot of stuff with Wounded Warrior Project, and took a lot of kids hunting and stuff. It was a really neat experience. And then the alligator thing kind of just was, I never expected to be guiding alligator hunts when I moved down there. And they opened a season because they were given so many nuisance tags that they decided to open a season. The population was just getting crazy, so they hadn't had an alligator season in South Carolina since, I think it was like back in the 70s. And when the first year well, I guess they're still doing it, but the first year they did, I guess they're doing it the same way now, but every year when I was down there, they increased the number of alligators that were allowed to be taken, but it was a lottery. You know, you enter your name in a lottery, and then if you got drawn, you got a tag. And where I lived there, not far from the Santee River, there was alligators everywhere. I mean, everywhere. I even had one show up in my little pond right in front of my butcher shop. I named him T-Bone. He's about a 4.5, 5 footer. But yeah, everybody started calling me wanting to take him on alligator hunts. And I said, man, I don't know the first thing about alligator hunts. Or, hunting alligators. So I had a couple friends who had problems with alligators. One girl in particular, she had one that she had been having trouble with coming up in her yard after her dog, I guess. And she said, man, he's been there forever. Or she named the alligator Bertha, so we'll call it a her. It was definitely not a female, because it was way too big to be a female. It was a really big alligator. She said, well, won't you get a nuisance tag and try to come get this alligator, and maybe you can learn a little bit and start guiding hunts, because it was something that really interested me and sounded like a lot of fun. And I had the boat and stuff to do it. So I got me a nuisance tag and spent that summer. Well, actually, after I finally got that alligator, a couple other people had asked me to take care of some nuisance gators, and so I ended up killing that summer. I guess 4 or 5 nuisance alligators for people, and learned a little bit along the way. It wasn't really hard. There were so many of them where I was. And so I advertised and started guiding hunts. And for, I guess, 3 or 4 years in a row, I had the best success rate of any guide in the state. DNR had me right on their website there. I would book up, when they would draw those tags out, I would book up in one day. One afternoon, I would book the whole, it was, I think, like a month-long season, or maybe like 33 days or something. And I would book every day completely. And that first afternoon, just from that DNR website having me on there, that phone would just start ringing and it would not stop. So the month of October was when they did it, and it was something else. It was a lot of fun. I had the butcher shop going and people working there, and sometimes I'd guide a hunt during the day and then come back and grab a nap and go back out that night. Guide another hunt that night. But the way we did it, we didn't do it like you see on Swamp People, where they bait lines and stuff. Man, that's not wanting to get through there. We couldn't use bait or set lines or anything like that. We would basically, I had a surf rod with like 250-pound braided Kevlar line. Let me set this one over here. I'll grab me another one here. And we would shine, you know, that you could shine, their eyes light up, they glow orange, so you could see their eyes. And then that surf rod, I had a big treble hook on there with a lead weight, you know, kind of like they would use to, I don't know if you've ever seen them, that they snag salmon with and stuff. But we tie a glow stick around there on the shank of the hook so you could see the hook when you threw it. And I could cast that thing about a country mile. And I had a big open face underhand saltwater pen reel on there with that 250-pound braided, I think it was like Kevlar line. And you would throw that treble hook, I'd throw it over their backs and, you know, get them snagged. And that wasn't enough to bring them into the boat, but you could at least, once you snagged them, they would go down usually on the bottom, and then you could position the boat over top of them. And then when they came up for air, we'd hit them with a harpoon. And then that harpoon, the dart had a heavier line on it, like a rope. So once you got a harpoon in them, you could, you know, after a while, you could get them up to the surface. And then we usually used, I had a 44 caliber bang stick, you know, we'd hit them right behind the head. It's just one little spot you got to hit them in, but it would go in there and sever that spinal column. And that was it. Usually that was it. Did have a few come back to life in the boat. Sometimes they'd hit them wrong and just knock them unconscious, and you get them in the boat and stuff, and then be heading back to the boat ramp, and they'd wake up. Which makes for an interesting experience. But anyhow, it was a lot of fun. Got some big ones. I don't know what the record is down there now as far as lengthwise goes. A plantation right up the street from me got one that was a 14-footer, and at that time that was the state record. I did a European mount on the skull, bleached the skull out for the guy. That thing was something else. They say between their eyes and the tip of their nose is usually about 1 inch per foot of the body length. And this thing, man, its head was, I just remember that skull being so big. Once they get about 10 foot long, they usually start growing out. You know, the females only get about 10 or 10 and a half feet. And that's it, they stop growing. But the males, the bull gators, they keep growing. I mean, and once they hit about 11 feet, they start growing out like this, and they, you know, some of them just keep going. It's just like looking at a dinosaur, honestly. Once they get that big, it is something else. Buddy there, Cliff, he just messaged me this morning and said, man, you need to get back down here and kick around with us, go fishing or hunting or something. I said, I'd love to. I tell you what, I sure miss it. It was a lot of fun. My daughter still lives down there with my ex-wife. She's actually coming up here. Here within a couple weeks, she's gonna come spend a few days up here. But I try to get down there at least once a year to see her and visit and stuff. It don't always work out, but she's 16 years old, and she's wanting to learn how to hunt, wanting to come up, spend a few days, and shoot guns, and get out in the woods. And the outdoors is evidently calling her. So she got it on us, that's for sure. It's definitely in her blood. I don't hunt nearly as much as I used to. I deer hunted a little bit this year, bow hunted, but didn't end up killing anything. And oh man, I haven't killed a deer in probably 6 or 7 years. I guess I got a little bit burnt out on deer anyways. I used to butcher about 3,000 of them a year. I'd usually skin about between, when the rut came in, they were killing a lot of them down there. And down there, it's not like it is up here in the Midwest. It's like it's pretty much open season, like, just kill one a day or something crazy. I mean, you can just keep killing them. The deer are a lot smaller, but the population it's pretty crazy. There's a lot of deer down there. And the season goes on for over 5 months. Used to come in, I guess it's still the same. I think it came in August, around August 15th or something, and ran all the way through January, I believe. So yeah, it was something else. We used to do about 3,000 deer and usually around 1,000 wild boar, wild hogs. And then when the alligator season started, I'd do a bunch of those too. Usually the ones that I guided, that people got, I ended up butchering them and doing a taxidermy on those too. So had a pretty sweet little setup going on. But after the divorce went through and things got kind of ugly, so I had to pull up and head back to Indiana. It was just the right thing to do. I don't know about the right thing, but it was the only thing at that point. But we won't get into that part of the story. So as you guys can see, these things, they work really well. I'm really impressed with them. There's not a whole lot of difference other than the weight. There's some added weight there. These are definitely heavier than any other bopper that I've used. Use this a little bit smaller one here. I'll tell you what, of all the different things I've done for a living, that guiding was was my favorite. It was really a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed that. When you can take somebody on a weekend or, 4 or 5 days and just show them the time of their life, they just something that they've dreamed about doing and be able to fulfill that dream for them and show them that experience is just so rewarding. And not to blow my own horn, but I think I made a pretty good guide. Especially doing stuff with the veterans and stuff, the people that were disabled, and to see their faces light up it's something special. Something special. So I did a little video last night, as I was saying earlier, for my buddy Cliff, a friend of his. Actually, I think it's someone that he leases some land off of to deer hunt. Their son, James, was interested in Flint napping and must have said something to Cliff about it. So Cliff sent me a message, and I said, well, I'll just do a little video on my YouTube channel and talk about it, because I'm sure there's other people with youngsters who are interested in it. I hope it'll help them out. All right, should do it for that one. All right, what else we got here, Miss Noodle? About this piece of novaculite. Heat treated novaculite from Arkansas. This stuff it flakes like a dream. Almost a little too good sometimes. But I like kind of tough stone. Kind of a personal preference. I like the soft stuff too, but when you're used to napping the tougher stone, sometimes the softer stuff will break your heart when it snaps in half. But it is kind of nice. See if I can come up from the end here and reduce some of this thickness. I guess I could get back into guiding up here where I'm at now. I've thought about maybe doing something on the river. I live real close to the Whitewater River. I've been fishing that river my whole life. I used to head out. My parents would, I think about that sometimes. I used to take probably, I don't know, sometimes I'd take 30 or 40 mile float trips by myself, you know, go for 2 or 3 days and camp overnight and floating in a john boat, just fishing. And I couldn't have been probably, maybe I was 12 or 13, 14 years old, maybe even younger than that. My dad would drop me off, I'd load the boat up and head out. Catch all kind of fish, just have a ball. A lot of times my friends would go with me, my cousin or another one of my friends, but sometimes I just do it by myself. But there's a lot of smallmouth in that river, and they're a lot of fun to catch in that swift water. I've thought about maybe doing a guide service on the river. I tried doing the deer hunting thing, and I did guide a few hunts up here. It's great whitetail hunting, but it's getting so developed, and there's so much competition as far as finding good farms to lease. These leasing companies are coming in here and they're leasing up all these farms from these farmers, and then they're turning around and subleasing them to other, you know, hunters. And I've lost several farms like that I was leasing, and somebody come in and offered the landowner a bunch more money, you know, and like, well, this guy's gonna give me this much an acre, and I can't afford that. I guess he's gonna get it. I usually lease a couple farms to just, you know, if nothing else, to hunt myself, not guide on, but I haven't leased anything, and well, like I said, I haven't hunted in really 6 or 7 years, so. But there are places out there, people I know, that I could probably do a guide service. And I tell you what, though, leasing those farms and doing it right and managing the, you know, the deer population, the herd, is a lot of work. With all the food plots and everything. I know some of you guys know what I'm talking about. This thing's got a little bit of a curve to it. I'll see if I can straighten it out a little bit. That's a little bit better. That helped. Take a little bit more up here. What do you think, Noodle? Who are you talking to? All right, let's see if we can address the square edge here. Let's see if we can take care of that. Not sure how I did that, but I'll take it. There we go. Getting there. I think one of the biggest things with this flint knapping thing and being able to get a successful flake removal is getting familiar enough with your edge to know when it's strong enough to hold up to the strike. It's one of the hardest things for me to learn. It's not too bad at all. This novaculite in particular, the edge will crush on you real easily. So I noticed people are seeing drones, they're calling them. I think in New Jersey, and I seen a video lady did from Florida. This orb of light out there in the sky, and there's another one just up from it that seems like they're kind of connected, and all of a sudden this light starts blinking, and and turns into like a, looks basically like an airplane. It's got navigation lights, red and green, and a white light, and it's got spotlights shining out. This thing just kind of morphs into a plane and flies right over top of her head. But I haven't said anything to anybody or posted anything on Facebook or anything like that, but I've been seeing that same thing around here for months, all summer long. Same exact stuff. Pretty wild. It's pretty interesting stuff. I've deleted them now, but I had videos basically the same thing. These lights just look like a star in the sky, but look like it's, you know, too low to be a star, and things they'll get brighter and dimmer, and the thing, it'll get swell up and get bigger and smaller, and all of a sudden these lights will start blinking like a, one night it started strobing, going across left to right, these white lights strobing, blinking, and then red light, green light pop on, and a white light in the middle, and this thing just takes off. You'll hear the sound start. It's got a sound, just sounds like a jet. Sometimes they'll morph into what looks like an like a commercial jet and fly over, but the sound you hear is like a little prop plane, like wee. It's like they get their sounds mixed up. Pretty crazy stuff. I didn't realize it was happening all across the country. I've never had any kind of, you know, felt threatened or anything by them. It's kind of just the opposite when I see them. Come on. But yeah, pretty crazy. I wouldn't have said anything about it if it wouldn't have been a nationwide frenzy going on. Everybody else seeing the stuff too. I probably would have never mentioned it, but yeah, I've been seeing that same stuff around here. I'd say it started around, well, I started noticing it at least around June of this year, this past June. So probably six or 7 months at least it's been going on. I guess the Pentagon had a meeting and didn't really have any answers for anybody. Sure, they know more than we do. But on that note, I think I'll go ahead and end this video, and I think I've gabbed your guys' ears off enough this morning. But as far as these tools go, I haven't really talked to them since I've been using them. But if you see this, I love them. I really like they've got a good feel to them. I love the weight. The added weight from that bolt is really, really good. So, yeah, keep your eyes peeled for these tools, guys, on flintnappingtraditions.com. I think Dan's going to be selling them when he does start bringing them into production. So, all right, guys, y'all have a good day. Thanks for watching and listening to my bull crap.